guys, it's July the 3rd, 2024. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day so far. I am just getting back from the doctor. I had to go to the endocrinologist this morning and speak with them about, my diabetes and all that kind of stuff. And I actually found out that I'm going to be being placed on an insulin pump now. They're changing my diabetes status from type 2 to type 1. My pancreas isn't creating any insulin anymore, and it's a long ordeal. But anyway, I'm kind of excited about this actually. I'm not gonna have to worry about stopping to take insulin and all that kind of stuff anymore. From what I understand, it's called the Omni pump. If any of you guys are familiar with that, and he told me there were 3 different kinds, and 2 of them have to you put in your pocket and carry it around with you, and it has a tube that goes into your stomach, I guess, that pumps the insulin in. And there's another one called the Omni pump that actually sits on your arm, and that just made more sense for me. I didn't really want to carry something around in my pocket and all that kind of stuff, and for it to be placed on my arm. It works in conjunction with your constant glucose monitor. It connects Bluetooth to your phone. You still have to enter in like your sliding scale, your carb count, and all that kind of stuff when you eat, but for the most part, it's really gonna help alleviate, some of the thinking about that. There's times I've forgotten to take my insulin when I eat and stuff like that, and it's just gonna help me out a lot. So I'm really excited about this part of it. But when I was driving home, to go to my endocrinologist is an hour drive there and an hour drive back. I had to be there this morning, and I was actually speaking with somebody else about this. I was talking about, cravings and all that kind of stuff that I've had recently. And, they were talking to me about, that I kept bringing up the fact about the nostalgic part of this. And it really got me to thinking on the way home. And I was like, they're right. And I think what's happening, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there, is that for some reason I tend to romanticize the nostalgia of the alcohol. And I often get stuck in this mindset of I start thinking about the good times that I had with the booze. And, looking back now and thinking about, when I was a drinker and the good times that I had with alcohol, those were really far in between each other. 90% of the time, it was not a good time. The hangovers would be horrible, and I would feel so bad the next day, and just, the stupid things I would get myself involved in when I was drinking. We don't often go back, or I know I don't, and I'm not speaking for everybody here. I'm just really speaking for myself. But I'm sure that this applies to a lot of people as well. But the romanticizing of the nostalgic part of the alcohol, the fun times that we had, romanticizing those fun times, and we often forget about the bad times that are associated with the alcohol. We just keep thinking back to those times that we had a good day. That day, like I've said, the day that you went to the beach with your family, and you took a cooler of beer out, and everybody had a blast that day, and then you were on vacation on the beach, and the whole time was just a great time. You didn't really get hungover. Thinking back to those times when we first started drinking, and before it became a problem, because that's when I would have a lot of good times when I drank. And I'm not saying that all those times were good either, because they weren't. There were a lot of times that didn't turn out to be good times. But going back in time mentally and thinking about, that time that we went to the lake, that time that we went to the beach, that time that we had a party at our house and a bunch of people came over, and you woke up the next morning and you weren't terribly hungover and you didn't do anything stupid when you drank. Those good times are the ones that we also often think about, or like I said, like I do. I'll go back and think about those and go, man, I had a really good time that one day, and I was drinking, and maybe if I had a beer or two today, maybe it would make things better and make things more fun. Especially like I was just on vacation last week, and there were, a bunch of times when I had to just go lay down in the bed, because the cravings were getting so bad, and I couldn't get my mind off of it. And I didn't want to just, go down and sit by the pool with everybody else drinking, or do the things that I saw other people doing when they were drinking. I had to kind of remove myself from that. And, I started kind of like, just thinking more and more about it. And, it's not that I couldn't control my thought process. It's just that when my mind would start going down that path again, I'd have to, steer it in another course, because I would start thinking, man, a cold beer sure would be nice today. Or, man, a nice cranberry and vodka sure would be nice right now. That would really make things fun right now. We could be sitting out here by this campfire, and I would be telling all kinds of jokes. There was one point where we were having dinner together as a family, and I used to tell a lot of jokes back in the day, and I don't do that much anymore. I'm sure that has a lot to do with the fact that I was a lot more loose back then, and I was a funnier person when I drank, but I wasn't a good person when I drank as well. But like I said, we were sitting at the dinner table and my family were asking me to tell these jokes, and they said, tell those old jokes you used to tell all the time. And I just kind of sat there. I really couldn't pull them out of my memory banks. I had a couple and I told them, but it still wasn't the whole, my delivery wasn't the same. The punchline wasn't the same. I just wasn't into the jokes like I used to be when I would drink. I'd really get animated and, really get into the joke and, really hit that punchline the right way. And I'm just not like that anymore. And that's never who I was to begin with. I was portraying someone that I thought that I wanted to be. And, still sometimes I look back and I go, man, I wish I still was that guy. Because that guy was a lot of fun. But at the same time, on the flip side of the coin, that guy was a lot of fun. But he was also a raging alcoholic who wanted to stop drinking every single day and didn't know how. Every day I would wake up in the morning telling myself that I'm not going to drink today. And every night when I would go to bed, I would go, this is it. Tonight's the last night. And it never worked out that way. And, the days started to add up, the weeks added up, the months added up. Next thing you know, it had been years, and I couldn't get myself out of it. And the constant romanticizing of those times, those good times, it just doesn't do us any good. Because with that said, those might have been some really good times, but think about and I'm saying this for any of you guys that do the same thing that I do. Because like I said, this is something that I often do. When I start getting cravings, a lot of the times it happens because I will start thinking back to those nostalgic times when I had a good time. And then before you know it, I've got these cravings. I can't get it off my head. I'm constantly spinning my wheels. I'm pacing around. Doing all the little tricks and stuff that I'm always talking about, just trying to stay busy to get my mind off of it, slamming some carbonated water, whatever it may be. And it will pass. I mean, it's not like they stick around forever, because they'll stick around for a few minutes, then they go away. But, if you start finding yourself in that position, especially this time of year, and, it really happens during specific times of the year for me. And I really find it like right now during the summertime. This is a time when, I used to do a lot of kayaking in the mountains and would be camping for a few days. And I would always drink when I did it. Or, the holiday season, I always drank really heavily during the holiday seasons. And those are the times when it's tough for me to, remove myself from those thoughts, because they often do come up. But, once again, we start thinking like that. Think about all those really bad times that, when you were drinking. If you're like me and, like tomorrow's 4th of July, I used to get hammered every single year on 4th of July. We used to go to my next door neighbor's house. He lived right across the street from me. every single year I went to his place, and everybody in the neighborhood would go over to his house. Everybody would bring like some chips and dip, or whatever, some smoked wings or whatever it was, but everybody brought some food. We laid it all out on the table. Everybody brought their own beer, liquor, or wine, whatever it was, and we would just hang out all night long, all of us. There would be 50, 60 of us at my neighbor's house just getting hammered. And we would stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning drinking. And every single year after the 4th of July, I would wake up so hungover and felt horrible. And those are often the times too when like my wife would have a 4-day weekend and I might have had off. And I would spend my whole time nursing my hangover opposed to doing anything fun with my family. And those are the things that when I start getting back into that romanticizing thought process, I've got to think about the negative things that come along with alcohol. Because can you have a good time with alcohol? Of course. If it wasn't a good time, no one would drink it. I'm not going to sit here and deny the fact that drinking can't be fun sometimes, because it can. But the problem with it is that if you're like me, you're an alcoholic, and one drink turns into 100, like I've said the past couple days, and it never turns out well. I never woke up in the morning and went, man, I'm so glad that I drank last night. It never worked that way. I always woke up the next day and went, I wish I had not drank last night. I feel horrible right now. Waking up in the morning and feeling like you could drink a gallon of water and that's still not enough water because you're so dehydrated. The throwing up every single morning, the diarrhea every single morning, the headache that you would get. And for any of you guys that are out there, have you ever woke up in the morning after a long night of drinking and literally felt like you're about to die? I mean, like, you felt so bad that you didn't know if you were actually going to make it. Your heart's pounding out of your chest. You can feel like your blood pressure is so high that like you can feel like your veins expanding, like in your neck. You can see it in your arms, around your wrist, the blood pumping. Your stomach hurts. You feel disassociated because you just got so drunk the night before that like nothing even really even feels real the next day. You're still intoxicated. And then not to mention, you have people that are upset with you because of what you did the night before. Your phone's ringing. You don't want to answer it because you're scared of what that person might tell you that you did the night before. The frantically hopping onto your checking account online to see what you might have spent the night before because you have absolutely no recollection. You went to a bar. You don't remember who paid for it. And then you're on your banking app looking at how many transactions you made last night. And then that feeling of your heart stopping when you realize that you spent $300 the night before out at the bar. And you don't even remember who you were with, what you did. You just know that you spent $300. Those are the things that you have to go back and think about. Or waking up in the morning and your car's not there. Or, the feeling of you've got to get home and you're in another city and you've been drinking and you said you were only going to have 2 beers, but then you ended up drinking 20 and you just want to get home that night and you take that chance. And when you're driving home, every headlight in your rearview mirror is a police officer in your mind. That fear, the anxiety, the feeling of what did I do? All those things that come along with it. We have to remember that and why we're sober. Because like I said, when I was on vacation last week, I had a lot of days where I was having some serious cravings. I had really bad cravings yesterday. I mean, they were hitting me pretty hard. And, the thing is that I wasn't thinking about all the bad stuff that came along with alcohol. I was thinking about all the good times that I had. That's what was in my mind. But what I had to do was go, okay, you won't think about these things right now. Well, let's think about all the bad stuff. Because like I've said before, there was one time that I was not my last job, but the job before that. I had worked at that job for 14 years, and I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. If I really wanted to leave. I made really good money at that job, though, and I just could not make up my mind. And I was a general manager at a restaurant. I was about to get promoted to area director, and I kept thinking to myself, I've got this opportunity. I'm about to get promoted to area director. I was going to have like 4 restaurants that I was going to be over. I was going to get a really big, significant raise because of it. And I kept thinking to myself, I can deal with this because the money's worth it. But then on the flip side of it, I kept going to myself, I don't like this job anymore. I've been here 14 years. I'm spinning my wheels. I just don't like it. I was working for a corporate restaurant chain, and I kept telling myself, like, this is just not where I want to be. I want to be in the fine dining side. I want to be creative. I don't want somebody telling me recipes that I have to follow every day. I want to be able to create my own stuff. I want the creative output that I want. So what I did was I took a piece of paper and I sat down and I wrote the pros and the cons, the reasons to stay and the reasons to go. And, the reasons to stay, there's maybe 10, 15 reasons. The reasons to go, it filled up 2 pages. 2 whole pages, back to front, of reasons that I needed to go find another job because it wasn't being fulfilling to me anymore. It just wasn't what I wanted out of life anymore. And after I wrote that all down, I handed it to my wife, showed her. I showed a couple of really good friends of mine, and everybody told me, if that's the case, if there's that many reasons for you not to stay there anymore, then maybe it's time to go. And that's what I finally did. Same thing applies with alcohol or whatever the substance is. Start yourself a list, write it down, all the reasons that you want to drink, all the positive things that you find with drinking or using whatever substance it is, and then write a list of all the negatives. Keep that list of all those negatives on you. Put it in your wallet, your purse, whatever. Take a picture of it, put it on your phone. Write it down on one of those little notepad apps in your phone. However you want to do it, but keep that handy on you. That's what I'm going to do. And anytime that I start having those feelings like I want to have a drink, I'm just going to whip that out and look at it and remind myself, I don't want to deal with hangovers anymore. I want to live. I don't want to have pancreatitis again. I don't want to cause any more damage to my liver than I've already caused. I don't want to have jaundice tomorrow. I mean, just all these reasons. There are so many more reasons not to drink than there are to drink. I mean, especially for me. And I'm sure that applies for most of you out there as well. Because like I said, if you're anything like me, you just take things too far. There is never, I'm just going to stop. I can't think of one time ever in my life that I said, I'm going to stop today. Like, I'm just going to quit drinking. I drank 6 beers, maybe when I was way younger. But as an adult, never once can I go back and go, oh yeah, that one time I said I'm only going to drink 3 beers and that's all I drank. No. I would say I'm only going to drink 3 beers, 20 beers later, and a few shots of liquor, and then I'm passing out and waking up the next day. That's how it always worked out for me. I have no self-control when it comes to alcohol. Absolutely none. I've said this over and over again, but I'm one of those people that, if 5 feels good, well, 100's going to feel great. So I always took it there. And I always had to get to that point where I was seeing doubles. As soon as I laid down in the bed, the room was spinning. You guys know what I'm talking about. You're kicking your leg off the side of the bed, trying to balance yourself, thinking that's going to fix it. So many nights I laid in my bed, laying there, while everything's spinning, the whole room's spinning like this. And, I'm trying just not to throw up because I feel so horrible. And I'm like, why did I let myself get this drunk again? I can't believe I did this. It happened to me so many times. Another thing too, and I've said this so many times on here, but how many times have you ever found yourself, or any of you guys who ever did any of the, the white stuff, how many times did you ever find yourself doing the white stuff if you weren't drinking? You don't find yourself in a bathroom stall at 2 o'clock in the morning doing that off of the back of a toilet, unless you're intoxicated and you put yourself in that situation. It's just the way it works out. We just make poor judgments, bad decisions. Just so many bad things happen when we drink. And that's just what I'm really talking about that this week, because I had a lot of cravings last week. And still, yesterday I had a lot of cravings. It's that time of the year. This summertime is always hard for me. I would say summertime is probably the hardest time of the year for me not to drink. You know, like when I get done doing this video right now, I gotta go cut my grass. When I used to cut my grass, I always had beer. You know, and that's one of those things. You know, when I get done cutting grass, I just want a cold beer, but I can't. You know, so I gotta drink a carbonated water or something like that, and that's just the way it works for me now. Yeah, nice cold beer after doing yard work sure is nice. But it's not worth what is going to be on the back end of that. You know, I don't even know if I would even survive drinking one beer. I'd probably go right into pancreatitis if I did. And I'm not saying that I'm going to drink, because that's not what's happening. I'm just here expressing my feelings to you guys, telling you guys the things that are going through my head. For one, to let everybody out there know who feels the same way that I do sometimes, that you're not alone. I deal with these thoughts too, these cravings, those feelings. They still come through me. And for the guys out there that don't, man, I'm so happy for you. I wish I was like that. I wish that it didn't cross my mind anymore. I would like nothing more than to have that life. But that's just the way my brain works. And that's, you know, that's the hand that I was dealt with. And, you know, I've got to deal with it the best way that I can. And like I said, I'm going to write down a whole list of all the reasons that I don't want to ever drink again. And I'm going to have it on my phone. So anytime that I get that feeling again, I'm going to whip my phone out and take a look at it and remind myself. But I know that I've been on this subject for the past 3 days, but like I said, I was on vacation last week. You know, I'm not going to lie to you guys. It was kind of tough. And I made it through it. You know, it's not that every single day is going to be easy. I'm not saying that at all. But it's all about the decisions that we make daily. And for today, I'm going to be sober today. You know, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. But all I know is right now, in the present, in this moment, I will not drink today. And I hope that the rest of you out there don't drink today either. Because what comes along with it is just not worth it. Alcohol destroys families, lives, our health, our financial status, everything. And alcohol knows no boundaries. It does not care what race you are, what religion you are, what your financial status is. It doesn't care about anything about that. It affects every single part of our society, from the richest people in the world to the poorest people in the world and everybody in between. Alcohol does not discriminate. And let's not let that, you know, be a problem for us anymore. And let's stay sober today. And hopefully we can do the same tomorrow. With that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here for today. I'm going to have another subject for tomorrow's video. I just wanted to just finish talking about that. And like I said, somebody was talking to me about it, said that I should talk more about this today. And, you know, I was thinking about it. And I was like, you know, that's a really good idea because, you know, it's true. You know, we romanticize the nostalgic part of that, and when we think about booze, we're often going back in time and thinking about the good times, but we're not going back. Anytime that we have those cravings, we're not thinking about when we were laying on the bathroom floor beside the toilet just to stay cool enough so we don't throw up again, or laying on the bathroom floor and on vomit because we're so sick that we can't even move. Those aren't the times that we think about. We think about the good times. And I think it's one of those times we really do have to focus on the bad times. It's one of those times in our life that we have to look back and look at those bad times and go, it is not worth that, because I don't want to go back there again. You know, and like I've said on here a million times before too, I've never woke up in the morning after a night of not drinking and went, man, I wish I drank last night. Never done that before ever in my life. Any morning that I've woken up after not drinking the next day, I wake up and I go, thank you, God, for not making me do that again, or not allowing me to do that again, that I was able to make that decision and work past it. Because every day is a new day, and being in the present is the most important thing that we can do. Don't think about yesterday, and don't try to think too far into the future. Right now is all we have, and just live in this moment, and let's not do this today. Let's stay sober today. With that said, guys, I'm going to hop off of here. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for all the beautiful comments you guys have been leaving. I really appreciate everybody hopping right back on this channel and watching the videos. You know, especially since I had a week off last week. I mean, you guys hopped right back on and been watching the videos just like normal. Just like we didn't even miss any time with each other. And I really do appreciate that. You guys are so awesome. You guys really are like my family. And I'm not kidding about that. That whole time that I was off, I really did miss everybody on this channel a lot. And this channel does a lot for me too. And it gives me an opportunity to get a lot of this stuff off my chest and talk about this daily. And it makes me feel better about it. And then it gives me an outlet to get those feelings away and, you know, just talk about it. And it really does help. And I think last week, one of the reasons that I had a lot of cravings because I wasn't talking about this every single day and communicating with you guys. So with that said, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off of here for today. I love y'all so much, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. I do plan on doing a live this week, not exactly sure which day yet, but I'll let you guys know in tomorrow's video what day that'll come up, and looking forward to that too. So with that said, guys, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Love y'all so much. Bye.